Join us for lively discussion about the A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
Hello everyone, welcome to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Ian Sanders, a mass communications student here at Arkansas State University. As part of the Mass Media Communications program at Arkansas State, students take a class that showed them to work on documentaries. Normally, they are done in groups, but this recent graduate made her documentary by herself in the Amazon. Her documentary is titled Keepers of the Ancient Library, which is a travelogue style documentary where she spent 1 week in Peru. This documentary has been shown at numerous international film festivals and has won numerous awards. Makenzie Cutler now works in creative services at Arkansas State, specializing in videography. Makenzie is with us on A-State Connections to talk about this documentary and her experience. Makenzie, welcome to A-State Connections.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So I want to start with you a little bit. So tell us a little bit about the process of how you got to Arkansas State. Did you hear about it from someone? Did you find it by yourself and kind of go through that process?
Yeah, so before coming to Arkansas State, I went to community college to get my general education out of the way. And while I was there, I was looking at different universities and talking to students across the country that were at North Carolina, Florida, Nebraska, West Virginia. And I actually ended up hopping on a Zoom with Mr. Sullivan, and I found that Arkansas State really had the most hands-on experience that would benefit me as a student.
Yes. Me personally, I love hands-on experience too, so I can understand that. What sparked your interest in wanting to explore the Amazon in Peru?
Yeah, so I read this incredible book called Mother of God by Paul Rosalie, which is the English translation for Madre de Dios, which is a really large river in the Amazon jungle. And he told these incredible stories of traveling into the Amazon and describing nature in ways that I would have never described it. I would have never thought of it before. It was such an eye-opening read that I was like, wow. I found out through the book that he is a conservationist who partnered with another man that is indigenous to the area in the Amazon, and together they co-founded an organization called Jungle Keepers. It's a nonprofit. And part of the nonprofit is they take small tourist groups down there. And when I got the opportunity, I definitely took it.
Wow, I mean, a trip to the Amazon, that is incredible. Have you always been interested in wanting to explore the Amazon or various parts of the world?
I would say that a little bit. I wouldn't say that the Amazon wasn't always my end goal. It wasn't always something I had in mind. I do love trees. I've been a lover of trees since I was little. Our neighbors would knock on my mom's door, letting her know that her kids were at the top of a tree and that we needed to come down. My mom's like, let them climb. She said, as far as you can climb up, as long as you can climb down, you can stay up there. So I always love that aspect. I know that I love to travel. So the Amazon was not always a goal, but it was an incredible experience.
And right now we got some B-roll of what the experience was like. And wow, speaking of trees, look at all those trees. So these shots were done by you. Is that correct? And only you?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So did you use your own camera equipment to film these shots, or did you have the privilege of taking equipment at ASU to go film this?
Yeah, so I don't have any camera equipment of my own. That's something I've definitely been saving up for, but that's really expensive. So I was really lucky that Arkansas State has a wonderful equipment checkout process, and all of my equipment that I use in the jungle was through Arkansas State.
Arkansas State. Nice, nice, nice. Have you always liked film? Do you have a history of making documentaries or just really cool projects? Because after seeing just some of those shots, I must say, Makenzie, you are very talented. Have you always had this talent?
You're so sweet. Thank you so much. Starting in high school, I was in a film and journalism class, and my focus from high school and even community college and even up into Arkansas State was on sports. And community college was kind of the first time that I discovered that I love the energy of the sports, but I'm not always as entertained by all the details of sports. So I started in sports and I really used that as my pathway to get to where I am. But this documentary was my first documentary. I had done kind of short narratives before, but definitely nothing close to 30 minutes like this.
Oh, wow. So this was a whole new take for you then.
Yes.
See, I come from a school where I did a whole bunch of films and radio projects as well. And so, yeah, believe me when I tell you, when I saw those shots and when I saw the film, I thought, oh my goodness, this woman could teach me a few things about film and
so
etc. So I want to go back to Peru for a second. Could you let us know how long you were in Peru and what you kind of did during this trip besides pretty much film everything?
Yeah, so I left the Memphis airport on February 21st last year, and then I arrived back home at midnight, early morning of March 3rd. So I was down in Peru for like a good 6 days, plus quite a bit of travel in between. It took me from February 21st until mid-afternoon February 23rd to get actually into the Amazon, and that's including several flights, including a red eye, spending the night in Puerto Maldonado, and then a 3-hour car ride and an hour-long boat ride before we were in the middle of nowhere.
Right. You mentioned plane flights. Has this been was that your first time ever getting on a plane, or have you experienced planes before?
So I have flown before. I'm originally from Idaho. In my first year of college, I flew out to Idaho and I was out there. But this was my first time flying outside of the country all on my own. So it was completely new territory for me.
Yeah, me too. I don't fly.
Oh, okay.
I'd rather drive if I can. So, when I think about the Amazon rainforest, when I think about forests in general, all I can envision is trees, yes, as we saw in the B-roll earlier, but also I can imagine how maybe swampy it could be, how much mud there is just sticking to your boots or to your shoes every time you walk. And so I guess my next question is, what were some of the challenges that you faced as you were filming this documentary?
Yeah, that's a great question. For one, I forgot that sometimes when you fly internationally, you go to different countries, they have different outlets. And when I first arrived in Peru, I realized I thought I did not have the proper outlets plug in. So as somebody with technology, that kind of ruins the deal of like, how am I going to charge my equipment? I found out by the very last day of my trip that the outlet just looked different, but it still would have allowed my equipment. But while I was actually at the biodiversity station, they did have outlets that I could plug all my equipment into and charge. My first night when I was just staying at the hotel before we actually traveled into the jungle, I fell asleep with my laptop on my bed charging my phone because I didn't think I could plug it into the wall. My laptop slid off onto the tile floor in the middle of the night, and luckily the computer was fine. That was the scariest part, but my converter that I would use to transfer, all my SD card information onto my hard drive had broken. So I really had to, which is, a videographer's worst nightmare, rely on the SD cards to not corrupt, because traveling down to Peru was very expensive, and it wasn't like, oh no, like I missed some shots, let me just go back. It was really like a one time, like, I'm going to get everything that I can right now.
Yes.
And then one of my other big challenges that I just hadn't even thought about until I got down there, it gets really humid here in Arkansas. We're
Period.
very, very accustomed to that. But in the Amazon, I went from Memphis, it was 30 degrees, to in the Amazon, it is 90 degrees and humid. And my camera equipment, at the front of the lens, it'll fog up sometimes with that humidity.
Yes.
What I didn't account for was at the back. When I took off my lens, it would fog up on the back by the sensor. So there were times where there's one morning where we saw these gorgeous spider monkeys. We were up in this tree house and we're looking down. I see a little baby. It's so perfect. And I couldn't figure out, I was like, it's not that foggy out, but my shots are so foggy right now.
Yeah.
Come to find out, I had been rubbing the front, but I didn't realize it was having me actually take the entire lens off and rub on the back to try and get rid of that humidity, So nothing too crazy, but some of the small things you just wouldn't really think about.
Yeah, man, that would get under my skin very quickly.
Yes.
Having to wipe off my camera lens every 2 to 3 seconds. I mean, honestly, I'd probably just pack it up and go home. No, I'm kidding. But wow, yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot. This kind of brings me to my second question. If you could do it over again, what would you change?
Ooh, that's a great question. Wow. Wow. I think the biggest thing that I would change is my confidence in filming. I got really nervous at a lot of points in filming, filming people, filming myself. I'm not super comfortable in front of the camera, and I didn't want to violate anybody's privacy, so I was really hesitant to do that. But if I were to go back, I think I'd be more vocal in asking people if I could film them so that I could set up shots that were more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, where confidence definitely shows, and it's going to get even better. Makenzie Cutler is joining us to talk about her award-winning documentary, Keepers of the Ancient Library, here on A-State Connections. We'll be right back with more A-State Connections after this.
Students should watch ASU-TV just to see the creativity that a college student can get. The creativity that some of these students have is truly amazing. Getting that experience can really just take you further, and I feel like our program does that for a lot of students.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
Red Wolf Radio is a student-led organization at Arkansas State University wanting to hear your takes on pop culture, music, the news, and college life. Just about anything you can think of. Located in the Education and Communications building on campus, we are always looking for more volunteers. So if you're an Arkansas State University student, no matter the major, and this is something that interests you, shoot us an email at redwolfradio@astate.edu. That's redwolfradio@astate.edu. Let them hear you howl.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
Hello everyone. Good morning or good night to everyone in the United States. My name is Victor Winga. I am a jungle tour guide, almost 20 years. Thank you for my job. I have the opportunity to share my beautiful Amazon, my beautiful jungle with Miss Makenzie. With her, we have a very, very, very great opportunity to walk in the jungle, daytime, morning time, nighttime, taking boat along the Las Piedras River in Madre de Dios region. In this opportunity, we have very nice experience spotting or searching animals like monkeys, beautiful birds, macaws, snakes, spiders, turtles, caimans, and much more. Um, Thank you for that opportunity. I have a small interview, and I have a great opportunity to talk with her about how important is keep protecting or keep saving the Amazon rainforest. Because if we are not saving the rainforest or the Amazon rainforest, no more opportunity for us, for the human, for the human, for the humans. No more opportunity for for this amazing fauna. Please, you can hear me, my voice. You can listen this small um, talk. Please, everyone, you can help her uh, about how we can keep protecting the jungle. Please help to her. I am here, keep making something and protecting the jungle. So very soon I am going back to the jungle and I am going to protect it. My second year saving turtle eggs because turtle eggs is also the population is getting lower and lower. If we are not going to protect the turtle eggs, very soon it should be one of the species, endangered species, like a jaguar, like a harpy eagle, like an anaconda, like a black caiman, like a giant river otter. Thank you, super. Thank you, super. Thank you so much for this small moment, and hopefully you can hear me very soon. Thank you, all throughout Mackenzie. Miss Mackenzie, one more time, super thank you for for visit my beautiful jungle. My jungle is your jungle. My jungle is for jungle for everyone who like to help me to help you keep protecting the Amazon rainforest. Big hug from Puerto Maldonado, Peru.
Welcome back to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Ian Sanders. Videographer Makenzie Cutler joins me today on A-State Connections to continue talking about her award-winning documentary, Keepers of the Ancient Library, which you can preview on ASU-TV's YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us today, Makenzie. Welcome.
Thank
Again.
you.
So we just saw a little bit of the documentary there. Your God, tell us a little bit about your God and everything that he showed you.
Yeah, so my guide was Victor, Victor Winga, and he was one of the most wonderful people I've ever met. Victor is from Peru, and we walked the jungle, as he said, morning, day, night, all the way up until like 11 p.m. And he taught me so much about the jungle while we were in there. So Victor has a really neat story. Victor's dad passed when he was younger, and because of it, him and his siblings started harvesting Brazil nuts, which, if you don't know, Brazil nuts come in what looks like a coconut shell.
Okay.
And within each of those coconut shells, there's anywhere between like 8 to 15 nuts within there.
Okay.
The thing about Brazil nuts, though, it's very tedious work because you actually have to hand harvest them.
Yeah.
So you have to take a machete and you have to whack at this big shell to crack it open and then take those nuts out. Well, when we were walking one day, we came across a Brazil nut tree, and he actually showed me the process. And this wasn't just like you take the machete and, the leaves fall down. This was you take the machete and you whack at it and you whack at it. And it was really hard work. And he showed me this back-breaking work that, to harvest a few nuts, and then you would have to do 150 of these in a day.
Wow.
We had seen one boat when we first left on the river that they had these giant potato sacks, and they probably had 100 of them. And he told me that it can take up to 300 shells that you crack to fill up those bags, which he illustrated to me once I actually saw him doing it. I already thought it was hard, but seeing that, it was so hard. So he has been in the Amazon. He has done this work. He is now working as a jungle guide, or has been working as a jungle guide for 20 years. And he's specifically working on helping to save turtle eggs right now. This is going to be his second year doing it. And he's trying to prevent them from becoming an endangered species.
Wow, that is incredible. Yo, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of physical work. I can imagine me just trying to crack open one. I'm already tired, but yeah, I don't think I could do that. and you got to try this out for yourself, right? Like cracking open a shell?
Oh, no, but I promise if I did, I would embarrass myself.
Oh, me too. Oh, me too. Victor would make both of us look like rookies.
Oh, absolutely.
We saw a little bit in the footage there. You were walking throughout the jungle day and night. What was was there any real environmental shift in regards to like the animals, the scenery, the natural sounds that we hear in the night? Was there any real major environmental differentiation there?
Well, the Amazon is never quiet. From the first thing when you wake up in the morning, it's loud, to at night, it gets even louder because there are so many creatures that come out in the night. Mm-hmm. When we walked, we saw all sorts of animals from, and you'll learn about this in the documentary, we saw ants that actually kill other ants and also enslave part of that ant population, and they will send those other ants to the front lines when they go to war with other ants and sacrifice them so that they can attack these other ants. We were on the boats and we saw capybara, we saw caiman one night while we were out walking, and that was the first one that I was like, oh, I'm kind of nervous about this. We saw so many different types of bugs. He showed me piranhas. We went fishing for piranhas one day, and Victor was the only one that caught anything. We saw squirrel monkeys, howler monkeys, spider monkeys. This is a pink-toed tarantula. They're really cute. I would have definitely held one. This is a spider monkey that I saw that day that I told you my lenses kept fogging up.
Oh, okay.
This is an ant that they can use actually as jungle stitches. You kind of snap off the head and you can actually use it with some sap to hold a wound together.
Oh,
so
wow.
We walked in the jungle and he was showing me all these different animals, all these different plants that can be used like medicinally and can be used for dyes, and telling me about how ayahuasca tea has historically helped the people that are in the jungle to discover these things.
Wow, yeah. Now we saw, you just described a whole lot of animals, and we just saw a whole lot of animals. Now I do believe that we saw you hold a snake once or twice in your documentary. No, I do not like snakes.
Okay.
I do not like snakes, but I will say my favorite animal that I saw you display was, I think it was called the coral snake. Yeah, the coral snake. I thought, wow. And I think in the documentary, Victor told you that it was one of the most poisonous snakes in the world. Is that correct?
Yes. So the coral snake is one of the most venomous snakes. And it was crazy because we saw it on my very first night. And Victor put his foot down on it and then pulled its tail up and pulled it out. And when I tell you, I was so scared. But he told me, he's like, it is not after us. This is very different than an interaction that you and me would have with, say, like a cottonmouth here. Because the cottonmouths here are a lot more territorial. There are a lot of people that have taken up what was originally their land. And so if you were to come across a cottonmouth or even a rattlesnake, they're going to tell you to get out of the way.
Yeah.
But a coral snake, because we're in the Amazon, where there are much more animals than there are people,
Yes.
And they've got a lot more space. We're in a very remote area. It's focused on getting food for the night. it's not going to waste, this is what Victor taught me, it's not going to waste its energy coming at us. There's no point. We're no threat to it. He's like, we are exploring it right now, and it is aware of that. And that was such a neat experience. Obviously, we weren't going to test waters. You know, we weren't, of course, we would not do anything to aggravate it, but that was a really neat experience, especially on my first night there.
That's awesome. So the animals were kind of just, you know, not hostile to you whatsoever, or didn't want to be hostile towards you because, you know, it in the words of Gen Z, it didn't want the smoke.
Yeah, no, Victor actually taught me an entirely, my lessons from Victor in the jungle helped retrain my language around animals, because something that I would have said previously about an animal being aggressive, I've now recognized is their animals are not aggressive. They're territorial in situations where they have to protect themselves or protect their young. And that's something that, you know, we saw in the jungle is a lot of animals are docile because you know, sometimes you might be their first human, or they don't have a lot of humans that are their threats, you know, which is an issue that is growing.
Yeah, awesome. Do you have a favorite animal? I know we've gone through a lot of animals and you've described them amazingly, but if you had to choose one, which animal do you think was the highlight? Like when you look back at the documentary and your experience, you just think, yes, that was the best living creature I have ever seen.
That's a really great question. It was really neat because I feel like I saw a lot of animals that I could see in a zoo, but I had never seen in person. The scarlet macaws, though, were absolutely magnificent. You know, it was so insane to see those like in real life in their habitat. Yeah, those are probably my favorite.
Okay, nice. If you could, just any day of the week, month, or year, would you go back?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, maybe a documentary part 2.
Maybe.
maybe get some more shots of animals that you potentially missed, or you know, dive a little bit more detail into the jungle, because you know, especially you know, for someone like me, and maybe your average Arkansan, there may be people that don't know a whole lot about the jungle. And you know, with your work, with this documentary, and maybe if you do go back, this could be really educational. I could definitely see this documentary be used for you know, for maybe like a kindergarten, first grade, second grade class, where they're like, hey, this is what life in Peru is like. This is what the rainforest is like. This is where you can find all the creatures of the world are at. And don't worry, the coral snake won't bite.
No, I would love that. I would love that.
Awesome. Well, Makenzie, thank you so much for your time. The documentary is incredible, and I highly recommend anyone to go and check it out. Well, that will do it for this edition of A-State Connections. Again, I want to thank my guest, Makenzie Cutler, for joining us today. I also want to say a huge thank you to the instructor of sports media and mass communications, Mr. Justin Sullivan, and his amazing students in Video Production 1, who are behind the scenes running the show today. I could not host the show without them. Special thanks to our producer today, Mr. Jonathan Reeves, and to our broadcast engineer, Aiden Barber, and graduate assistant Reese Barnett for their help on the show. Thanks for joining us. So long, everyone.